The desert highway stretched endlessly beneath a bruised, late afternoon sky, the kind that looked heavy enough to collapse under its own weight. A lonely wind scraped across the cracked asphalt, carrying dust, silence, and a sense of something unfinished lingering in the air. On that forgotten stretch of road, a young man named Aaron stood beside his broken, overheated car, wiping sweat from his forehead as frustration tightened inside his chest. He had been on his way to the city hospital, racing toward his mother's bedside after receiving a call that her condition had suddenly worsened. He had already been too far away, already too late, and now fate seemed to mock him with this cruel, hopeless breakdown in the middle of nowhere. Cars had passed him for the last hour, some slowing, none stopping. The sun had begun to dip. His phone had only 3% battery left, and for the first time in years, Aaron felt like a child again, scared, helpless, and completely alone. Before the story unfolds, if you believe in kindness, redemption, and second chances, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe for more real, heart-touching stories. Your support helps us bring these powerful narratives to life. Aaron's breaths came sharp and uneven as he leaned against the car. The heat was suffocating, the anxiety nearly unbearable. He kept thinking of his mother's frail voice earlier that morning, whispering that everything would be okay, but he could hear the fear beneath her words. She had always been stronger than anyone he knew, a survivor through poverty, sickness, and heartbreak. And now the thought of not reaching her in time consumed him. He punched the steering wheel, cursed the situation, cursed himself for not taking better care of the car. As his phone screen dimmed with the last sliver of battery, a deep rumble echoed through the air, a thunder-like vibration that rolled down the highway long before anything appeared. Then he saw them. A line of massive motorcycles emerged from the shimmering haze of heat, chrome gleaming even beneath the dull sky. The engines growled like caged animals set loose, their sound shaking dust into the air. The riders wore black leather vests, each emblazoned with the unmistakable winged skull emblem, the symbol of the Hells Angels, a name that carried both fear and legend. Aaron swallowed hard. Stories of their lawlessness, brutality, and violence filled the public imagination. The last thing he needed right now was trouble. Instinctively, he straightened up, bracing for the worst while silently praying they'd just drive past without noticing him. But they slowed, then stopped. The leader dismounted first, an older man with a long gray beard, weathered face, and eyes that held a strange mixture of steel and sorrow. The others followed, forming a loose circle around Aaron's car. Their presence felt overwhelming, almost unreal, as if the quiet desert had suddenly birthed giants from smoke and thunder. Aaron's heart pounded, his throat tightened. This was not the moment for courage, it was the moment for acceptance. But the leader simply stepped forward, studied him for a long second, and without a word, turned his gaze to the open hood of the car. What followed would remain etched in Aaron's memory forever. The biker chief reached into his saddlebag, pulled out a pair of gloves, and began inspecting the engine with the casual expertise of someone who had spent decades taming machines far more temperamental. Another biker fetched water. Two more knelt to check the tires, alignment, hoses, belts, everything. Aaron had been too helpless to understand himself. They worked with quiet coordination, communicating through glances and gestures. The scene felt surreal. Men the world warned society about, men branded as criminals, kneeling on sun-baked pavement to help a stranger without being asked. As the minutes passed, the tension gradually melted into an almost sacred silence. When the leader finally stepped back, wiped sweat from his brow, and nodded, Aaron's car roared to life again. Relief hit him so intensely, he nearly collapsed. But the most surprising part wasn't the repair, it was the gentleness, the unspoken understanding in the biker's eyes, as if he had recognized something in Aaron's fear, something he had once carried himself. When Aaron explained, voice cracking, that he needed to reach the hospital to see his dying mother, the leader's entire expression changed. A flicker of pain crossed his face, followed by something deeper. A memory, perhaps, Without hesitation, he signaled to the others. In a matter of seconds, the Hell's Angels formed a protective escort around Aaron's car, some leading, some following, engines roaring with purpose. They rode like an armored cloud around him, carving a safe path through traffic, forcing reckless drivers aside, and ensuring that nothing slowed him down again. Cars moved out of the way on instinct, intimidated by the thunderous formation. Inside the car, Aaron felt emotion rise inside him like a tidal wave. The world had judged these men harshly. He himself had assumed the worst the moment he saw them. But now here they were, guiding him like guardians straight out of a dream he never expected to have. For the first time all day he felt hope, fragile, trembling, but real. As the city skyline came into view, rain began to fall in soft, exhausted drops. The angels continued until the hospital entrance appeared, then parked in a tight formation. Their presence drew curious, fearful stares from bystanders, but they paid no attention. The leader approached Aaron, placed a heavy hand on his shoulder, and nodded once. Slow, steady, powerful. The kind of gesture that carried more comfort than any words could have. Aaron ran through the hospital doors with his heart racing. When he reached his mother's room, she was still there, weak, pale, connected to tubes and monitors, but breathing, awake, and able to see him. Tears spilled down Aaron's face as he sank into the chair beside her. She lifted her trembling hand and rested it on his cheek, her tired eyes filled with something close to peace. "You made it," she whispered, though her voice was too faint to hear clearly. He held her hand for hours, telling her everything he had never said, apologizing for the times he had failed, thanking her for a lifetime of unconditional love. Outside, hours later, as night settled over the city, the rumble of motorcycles echoed once again. The angels were still there waiting, watching, making sure he would not leave without knowing the truth of what had happened. Aaron hurried outside, overwhelmed by their loyalty, unsure how to express gratitude strong enough for what they had given him. But when he approached the leader, the man finally spoke in a rough, deep voice that carried the weight of years lost. He told Aaron about his own mother, how he had failed to reach her in time, how he had lived with the guilt ever since. How he had sworn never to let another son go through that same torment if he could help it. That, he said, was why they stopped, why they stayed, why they made sure Aaron reached the hospital with minutes to spare. And in that moment, the hardened exterior of the biker gang disappeared entirely, replaced by a raw, rare humanity that left Aaron speechless. For a long time, they stood there in the dim glow of streetlights, one grieving son from the past, one from the present, bound by loss, love, and the strange beauty of fate. Aaron realized then that kindness can come from the most unexpected places. That the world was not divided between good and bad as people pretended. That compassion often hides behind fearsome masks, waiting for a moment to reveal itself. When the angels finally prepared to leave, the leader gave Aaron one last look. Stern yet soft, firm yet filled with unspoken understanding. The engines ignited one by one, filling the night with thunder. But beneath that thunder was something gentle, something almost like a blessing, and as the motorcycles vanished down the highway, swallowed by darkness, Aaron felt a quiet transformation inside him. His faith in humanity had been restored not by saints or gentle souls, but by men the world had cast aside. The Hell's Angels had shown him that redemption isn't a myth, and kindness doesn't need clean hands or polished reputations. It only needs a heart willing to help. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe for more powerful real life stories that remind us kindness still exists. Before you go, please comment below. Kindness can come from anywhere. Your words may inspire someone who feels alone today. And with that, Aaron looked back toward the hospital where his mother rested, whispered a silent thank you to the angels who had appeared in leather and steel, and walked inside carrying a new understanding of the world. that sometimes the roughest hands carry the gentlest intentions. Sometimes the people who seem furthest from grace are the ones who will stand by you when it matters most.